Alright, I got the lighting down on the workbench here in hopes that you guys can see the scope and the spectrum analyzer down there a little bit better, because making a follow-up video to the quality control video on these RM amps. So I don't normally have two of the same company amp here. These belong to a customer. So I figured I'd just do a follow-up video on maybe some myths about amps, about linears, and some, I guess, just proof that amplifiers are only as good as the radio you're using to amplify your signal with. Radios are half the equation here, or half your problem, if you want to look at it that way. And the amplifier is only going to amplify whatever your radio is putting into it. So if your radio is set up like junk, your amplifier is going to amplify junk. Of course, I'm just generalizing. There's amps out there that are going to be built better. There's amps out there that are going to be built and tuned, I guess, better than others. But the rule of thumb is the radio is what's really important in having a properly set up radio. So this is my own Unit and Grant XL. I don't clip anything. I don't bypass anything on any of my radios. I like my radios left pretty much stock, except for the modulation. I like to have 100% modulation usually on all my radios. 4-watt carrier. And depending on the radio, I don't like to see more than 20 watts on PEP. So, and usually, rule of thumb, again, I'm generalizing, so, like on this radio here, you're going to find that this thing is set up pretty much stock. Yeah, about 95 to 100% modulation. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take a baseline reading on the oscilloscope and on the spectrum analyzer on this Unit and Grant without any amp hooked up to it. And we're going to see how the waveform looks, and we're going to see how it looks on the spectrum analyzer. And then we'll start with this KL203P here. We'll put this on and see if it changes any, see if it creates any IMD, see if it creates any, I don't know, strange waveform on the oscilloscope. And I think you guys are going to be surprised that this little budget, both of these budget amps are actually pretty good. So I'm going to try to get you guys set up in a manner where you can kind of see everything. So let me get you up on a tripod, and we can take it from there. Stand by. Alright, so now I get you guys up on the tripod. I'll just move it around as needed. It's a little tight up here to kind of get everything in the field of view. And then, try to actually get the details on the display on the scope and the spectrum analyzer. So I'll just move you guys around on this tripod as necessary. So, alright, I got the Grant hooked up. Everything's warmed up. The oscilloscope is warmed up. Spectrum analyzer is warmed up. Everything is warmed up. So let's take a baseline test, and we'll see how this Grant looks as is. No amplifier, no nothing. Alright, so you can see there's no trickery here. Believe me when I tell you, I don't do stuff like that. What you see is what's actually happening. Everything is hooked up the way it should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tone through the radio here, and you guys can actually see the waveform, get that stabilized. All right. All right, that's a nice waveform, right around 100% modulation, barefoot. All right, that's how I like my radio set up. Okay, that's on the oscilloscope, obviously. Let me get this hooked up to the spectrum analyzer here. Try to get that out of the way. There, you guys can see. All right. All right, let's key up here. So we're on channel 19. All right, that's the fundamental frequency. We're 2 megahertz wide per division. All right, let's go out to the harmonic. We'll go through the whole. All right, there's your 54. Let's go out to the 81. You can see how clean this radio is. 135. It's actually nothing at 108. Yeah, so and back to our fundamental frequency. All right, not bad. It's for me, that's a really good radio, in my eyes anyway. I know many will disagree, but that's how radio should be set up. If you're going to be amplifying anything, that's exactly what you want to see. All right, so let's get this this one right here, this KL203P. Now there's 2 of them here. I'm not going to do both of them. They're both the same. So let's get this one on first. This little fan's super loud, but we'll go and test that out first, and then we'll go ahead and do the KL300P. So, all right, let me make sure everything is hooked up here. Okay, let's do the scope first, just to keep everything in order. This little fan's going to be loud. Alright, so got that one there first. See how it looks on the scope. And that's a pretty good looking waveform if you ask me. Nothing crazy about that. Nothing ugly about that. So, yeah, this amp is, it's only going to amplify what you put into it. You know? Yeah, RM Italy's a budget amp, but, you know, they're not going to put out complete crap, right? It's not always the case. You know, there's companies out there that does produce crap products, but, let me turn this off. These RM Italy amps are not, you know, they're not bad amplifiers, honestly. At least these two. I don't own any RM Italy products. I don't, in fact, I don't own many linears or amplifiers at all. I just have a couple of them. In fact, Three Mate's got one of my amps right now that he's going to be basically hollowing out and building something new. But yeah, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a huge amplifier guy. I do like them. I do appreciate, you know, builders that build nice amps, but I can't say that I am an avid user. But some of you guys are, and that's fine. Alright, so now we're on the spectrum analyzer here, and nothing has changed. We're still on channel 19 AM, and let me get this little amp turned on here. Okay. Alright, so there's the fundamental frequency, right? And then let's go out to the harmonics. We'll go out to the 54. These are all the harmonics of the 27 megahertz, right? So 81, 108, 135. I mean, I don't see anything. You can continue to go out here. I don't want to get this keyed up too long, but I don't know. I don't see anything faulty or anything ugly with this little amp right here, this KL203P. So, turn this off. Yeah, I don't know. Everything is these two amps anyway. Again, I'm not going to speak for all of the RM Italy stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're not putting out, you know, crappy products, even though it's a budget amp. All right, I don't want to make this video super long, and you know, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to start dropping you scientific knowledge. All I know is what my eyes see. And that's basically it. Let me get this KL300P amp hooked up. Set you guys back a little bit while I do this. Put this aside for now. Put this one aside for now. Those are done. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually surprised with the performance of these little amps. Okay. High AM preamp, and that's linear. All right. Alright, we'll start off with the spectrum analyzer, so I'm not doing things twice here. Alright, you got a pretty good view. Okay. This one doesn't have a little fan, so it's not going to be loud. But let's see what we got. Okay, fundamental frequency. Let me center this again. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're close. All right, and then you're going to see the other harmonics. On the 54, 81, 108, 135, and so on. I mean, looks pretty good to me. Right, that's the front end. Yeah, so that's always there. But I don't know, they look pretty clean to me. But if you ask me, it's because this grant is set up properly. Right? That's again, I'm a true believer in having a properly set up radio for no matter what amp you have, right? So I think that that's pretty much common knowledge for the people who know. I think that for the people who don't know, or for the people who are maybe just getting into the hobby and learning about amplifiers, they're all, you know, they're great, you know, if you want to get out there. But if you actually want to sound good, you want to sound the best you can, the radio is what's going to be most important. The radio, the antenna, right, your whole setup, your cables, all of these things have a say in how good you sound and how well you're going to get out. I think a lot of people use an amplifier as a crutch, you know, for their setups. But again, I'm not anti, you know, amplifier. But what I think is you should have a properly set up radio before you even consider an amplifier. You know, if you start cutting out AMC circuits, ALC circuits, you start bypassing this, maxing out your modulation and doing this and doing that, yeah, you're going to end up just amplifying all that trash. And you know, you're going to hear people saying like, oh, you sound distorted, or you sound, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, your amps are only as, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to continue to say it, your amps are only as good as the radio you're driving them with. So, alright, let's get this on the scope. I mean, for an amplified waveform, that's not, it's not bad, it's not clipping, it's, you know, the tops are a little bit rounded, you know, but it's, again, it's an amplified waveform. It's, I don't think that that's bad at all. Yeah. Doesn't look clipped to me, doesn't, I don't know, it looks alright, I think. So, there you go. There's proof that these amps are not bad amps. They're not, you know, they're not going to create distortion and give you an ugly waveform right off the bat. You know, it's the radio. It's always the radio. So, yeah, that's all. That's all I wanted to show. think it's just a misconception, you know, and somebody had actually left a comment, you know, explaining how these things look on a spectrum analyzer and on a oscilloscope. I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to say, but one thing's for sure is, you know, my eyes don't don't see any of that. But it is what it is, I guess. If you guys have put other amps on, you know, with a nice clean radio, and it has created, you know, weird waveforms or intermodulation, distortion, and all that other stuff, please let me know. But I can definitely confirm that these two amps here, the KL300P and the KL203P, they're not gonna, you know, right off the bat for no reason, you know, give you an ugly waveform or give you, I think somebody had commented that it was a partial harmonic or something. Yeah, anyway. Alright, for comparison, I have here Uniden PC68 LTD 50th anniversary, and this thing has been screwdrivered to death. Things have been bypassed, the modulation has been bypassed, yeah, just everything has been just screwdrivered. Nothing was left untouched in this poor little radio, so I'm yet to fix it. But I'd like to show you guys a comparison between, you know, a nice, clean, well adjusted radio compared to something like this that's been completely screwed and hacked. So let's get a baseline test on this radio. So we'll put it on the scope, and we'll put it on the spectrum analyzer, and then we'll hook it up to an amplifier. Alright. So this is just alright. This is barefoot. Alright, well, that's pretty ugly. That's what happens when you start messing around with these radios and you start bypassing and, you know, doing what you read online to do. This is the waveform you get. Okay? And now it's hooked up to the spectrum analyzer. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. What a difference, huh? Between a radio that's been screwdrivered and a, you know, peaked and tuned, as the person who sent this in said was done to it. That's ugly. So now what do you think is going to happen, you know, when you put an amplifier to this? Yeah, watch. We'll see. Get this amplifier on here. Hi, AM. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, I don't even need to go through this. You guys see what the point I'm trying to make here. So, yeah. You put crap into it, crap's gonna come out amplified. That's just how it is. That's the law of the land. Yep. Ugly. So, hopefully I've driven my point home here. Hopefully some myths has been busted about amps and whatnot. So that's all I got. I don't want to keep talking here and keep repeating myself. But yeah, that's proof there that the amp is only as good as the radio that's driving it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.